The Evergreen Media Network Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha!
Well, hi there, and welcome, everyone. We have some good news. We're not totally out of the woods yet. I don't mean to imply that. But I will take all the good news there is and tell you about it during hurricane season. First, we still have the Sahara dust coming across from the Sahara Desert into the Atlantic Ocean, which causes a haze over the whole ocean and keeps it from getting hotter than it already is. But the biggest thing that no one predicted, and we haven't had it since I believe it's 2005 and 2006, and that is over by the coast of Africa, the winds are blowing from the south. Now, let me remind you, south of the equator, most of South America, Africa, Australia, they're in their winter months when we have the summers up here. So the wind blowing the ocean from below the equator, lo and behold, is very cold weather. There can even be little bits of ice in it. And that's what's blowing north of the equator. And so guess what? The Atlantic Ocean, where hurricanes form, near the Cape Verde Islands and the coast of Africa, lo and behold, that ocean is no longer hot in the upper 80s like it was last May. The Weather Channel and no other channel, actually, any other meteorologist really forecasted this because it doesn't happen every year, every 2 or 3 years. Like I said, the last time was 2005, 2006, I believe it was 2006, when we had very, very few hurricanes and none really made landfall or amounted to anything. Well, we have that now, and that is certain. What I don't like about all the meteorologists is that they're not telling you about it. We're all scared silly. We're still stocking our rooms and kitchen pantries with extra water and supplies. I'm not saying don't do that. That is a smart thing to do, because at least here in Florida, this time of year, right through November, even without hurricanes, is when we have our most violent 20-minute thunder and lightning rainstorms that really aren't that well predicted ahead of time. In fact, over a year ago, we had one of those, and the flagpole that I can see from my window out by the marina literally blew into the water, into the Indian River, with a 20-minute no-named storm.
Yeah.
And yet that stayed solid all the way through every single hurricane.
Yeah. You know what, Martha, not to interrupt you, that it seems like that kind of weather here now as well because of the lightning storms and stuff that we've had recently.
Yes.
Really.
Yes. So I'm not I'm not telling you, oh, don't worry about insurance or something for this year. I'm not saying that at all. We never know how many of those little unnamed violent storms we can get. In fact, recently we've even had severe sounding thunder and
Yeah.
lightning storms that had absolutely no rain with them.
Yeah.
We've had all kinds of
Yeah.
things. So I'm not predicting all kinds of weather. I'm only predicting the Atlantic hurricane season is not going to be as high as they predicted. And even now, the University of Colorado Weather Center that trains all the meteorologists, they're still predicting 25 storms off of Africa, and they may have downed it a little instead of 28 to 25, which please don't start laughing. But also, they still are predicting 6 major hurricanes. Now, that doesn't mean all or any of them will or will not make landfall, but 6 major hurricanes over a Category 3, or actually including a Category 3 on up, 4 and 5, that's heavy winds, well over 100 miles an hour, and it is destructive if it hits anything. We all know that. So I'm surprised they're doing that. But, the actual peak of hurricane season is September 10th. That's less than 2 weeks away, and there's absolutely nothing in the Atlantic. So it will be probably after the peak, if anything even makes its way into the Atlantic, which is very, very unusual for us. Now, that's all the good news, and I hope that Sahara dust really continues because it's a blessing. The other news, which is not good or bad, I just cannot predict it, is the late season hurricanes that form in the western Atlantic right near the Caribbean Sea and then work their way either straight across to Mexico or start veering north, which is the way the steering currents are working now, which means it will go into the Gulf. I'd say whatever goes in the Gulf has a better than 50-50 chance, almost a 70% chance of going into the western Gulf, which is Mexico or the southern tip of Texas. That's good news population-wise. Most of the Florida Panhandle will still get a breather. But just like Hurricane Debbie, one of them can also go closer to the East Gulf Coast, in which case when Big Ben occurs and they reach that area, it will go across the southern Georgia and northern Florida area, including Tallahassee and Jacksonville, which are very, very large towns. And a lot can happen in those small cities, if you will. The population is quite extensive. So we don't know what's going to happen with those. The only good news with those is that for some reason, historically, any of the hurricanes that form in the Caribbean or far western Gulf, they tend not to be major hurricanes. They usually do not go above, a Category 2. But as we all learned from Debbie and Beryl, you don't need to have anything more than a tropical storm to do outages and a lot of damage. The only good part is that you're not going to be totally wiped out right down to the ground the way, let's say, several years ago, the way Hurricane Andrew devastated a limited area of Miami. Literally everything was totally wiped out. You'd think a contractor was just starting construction. Literally everything was taken down. So thank God we don't have that, but we all know, and we've got to stay alert, keep your guard on, and keep your insurance going, because we don't know come the second half of September and the first half of October if we will get these hurricanes formed in the West, especially in the Caribbean. Now, I am not making any precautions about places like Puerto Rico, for example. They get hit a lot. They even got hit recently by Ernesto and those others, almost all of them, before they turned north and went out to sea. Well, Puerto Rico has always had that problem, but they've added to their problem. They rebuild flimsier huts and houses and repair everything like the way it used to be, instead of building CBS blocks that are reinforced with rods and concrete and getting some hurricane-proof buildings built once and for all. They seem to take the cheap way out. So anything from a tropical storm, even a Category 1, is detrimental to places like Puerto Rico because they don't change anything. They don't put electric wires underground. They're flimsily attached to poles where any windstorm above 45, 50 miles an hour will knock some of those electric poles over. So they're in part asking for their own destruction indirectly by taking the cheap way out. And that's mentioned almost every single time they get hit. I think part of Puerto Rico is without electricity almost 365 days a year. There are areas that they just never get to, which is very, very sad. But getting back to the hurricanes, we don't know what's going to happen between October 15th and the end of October. We rarely get something in November, but that's part of the prediction, that hurricane season lasts till November 30th. So we are well into half past hurricane season. That's the good news. And the other good news is that more than likely we will not be getting major hurricanes hitting the U.S. coast. We've had enough damage even already with these tropical storms, but at least it's not going to be total devastation of hospitals and everything else. So that is a plus. And I really wish the weather stations and others would say what I'm saying about the cold weather causing the Atlantic to get cold. No one has said a word about that without having to listen to every single weather channel for 24 hours a day. You may hear one person who said it. But this ought to be common knowledge, which is why I'm bringing it to you. Don't be surprised. In 2 weeks, they're going to say, oh, no, nothing came. We're very, very lucky. We're not lucky. There are reasons for it, and thank God for that. But please don't listen to all this fright and scare that we're still going to get 23 to 28 hurricanes. That is really a shame. Mother Nature is actually laughing at us for making some of those predictions even now.
Yeah, it seems like they want to keep everyone on high alert all the time. It's crazy, but I mean, I get it where people need to be safe, but some of the stuff after a while, what's like the boy that cried wolf? You keep saying it's going to happen, and it doesn't, and then people are like, oh, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Right.
You know?
I do not know this, but there is so much, what is the word, politico and finances involved on this. The more that they can make people pay and be prepared, get extra batteries they don't need, get extra water they don't need, is helping all the supermarkets and the stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. I wouldn't even be surprised if some people were paid by them to make us feel a little panicky and we better start loading up on stuff. I'll believe anything like that down the road. So generally, we have a very good hurricane season coming up, but we'll keep our fingers crossed about the western storms that still may arise near the end of hurricane season. We don't know what's going to happen. We could have 5 or 6 barrels or Debbies, which would be absolutely devastating. So let's still keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best with hurricanes like that. We're going to take a break, but I have some more information for you as soon as we get back. So stay with us. I want to introduce you to our main sponsor, Highland Plaza, located on US 1 on the east side of the Highland Drive traffic light. We even have our own left-hand turn lane. One of the places in there, the first one on the north side, is Easy Stop, and you will be surprised what competitive and beautiful prices they have. You should give it a shot. Also, Tony's Hairstyling Salon is ideal for the entire family at all ages. He and his wife have run a salon there for years with a huge following. Also, we want to tell you about La Taberna Restaurant. It has the freshest Mexican food in town and a well-experienced chef. You will be most surprised not only by the food, but the reasonable prices. Also, I want to tell you about the nail salon. It's Luxury Nails. Let me tell you, they do everything, both for walk-in clients and appointments. Appointments are really appreciated, but they treat all clients professionally. Now, I want to repeat to you, this is located on US 1, just east of Highland Drive at the traffic light. It's a beautiful yellow building with a maroon awning. We look forward to seeing you there. Come on over.
Hey you! Host your very own show every week at Evergreen Media Network in Vero Beach. Go live to YouTube and Facebook with up to 4 people and your very own producer. Be heard on more than 15 podcast platforms and local radio. All you have to do is show up and talk. Your guests can join from anywhere in the world. It's easy to get started with the largest podcast studio on the Treasure Coast. Contact Evergreen Media to tour the studio.
Sunshine Furniture.
If you dream of creating a home with furniture where you make life one long weekend, visit Sunshine Furniture now and save 50% on all Tommy Bahama and Lexington furniture during the Fall Home event. Bedroom, living, and dining room, home office, media, and occasional furniture that is inviting and comfortable, Tommy Bahama and Lexington offer everything you need to furnish your floor at home. The Fall Home event ends September 30th, so come in now. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and buy local.
Sunshine Furniture brightens up your day. Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture. Stop on in today and have a
Welcome back, everyone. Hey, yes, we have a lot to be thankful for this season. And as you know, the really heavy hurricane months are August, September, and October. Well, we've been through August, which has been one of the lightest months ever, as I told you before. We haven't had it that light since 1997. So that's on the plus side. But the other plus side is because nothing is in the Atlantic right now, believe it or not, that helps us get through the first half of September because it takes 2 full weeks or more to come off the coast of Africa and make it across the Atlantic. So we're literally almost halfway through the second busiest month. So if September doesn't disappoint us, I don't see where we're going to get anywhere near even 20 storms, even 15 storms, which the University of Colorado weather area is actually predicting.
You mean name storms?
Any named storms. Yeah. It's unbelievable. But I am thrilled because we have enough problems with the cost of property insurance and the cost of utilities and food. And believe it, we don't need this on top of everything else. So I'm very thankful, and all of you listening should have a smile on your face for the most part. We'll keep our fingers crossed about the second half of October and November, but outside of that, we're not saying that's going to be heavy. We're just saying we can't predict it yet.
And hurricane season ends when, Martha? The end of November?
The November 30th.
Yeah. So we got a little time left to go, though.
Yes, we do. But the good part also that I didn't mention already is, like a couple of months ago, the steering currents are still in place and are very helpful to the east coast of Florida, meaning just like what happened with Ernesto, poor Puerto Rico got hit, but the steering current pulled it north into the Atlantic east of Bermuda and to the north. So except for maybe rip currents and a few big waves, we have no impact whatsoever from that storm, and that is still predicted. When I say east coast of Florida, I mean from Fort Lauderdale all the way up to St. Augustine, or Augustine, however you want to pronounce it. So that is pretty good. So we're going to see you next time. And I hope next time I do an update on weather, let's hope it's some more good news. But have a good week, and I'll see you next time.